Hello and welcome to the Culture Swally, a podcast dedicated to Scottish news and pop culture. My name is Nicky, and I'm joined, as always, by the man who thinks that podcasts are just a fad, like they basic rollers or platform boots, eh? It's Greg. How are you today, Greg?
I'm very well. How are you?
Yeah, I'm good, thank you. Happy New Year. It's the first time I've actually seen you properly. Since New Year, obviously, we've exchanged messages and stuff, but it's the first time I've actually seen you. How are you? How was your festive period and New Year?
It was good. We were supposed to have a catch up with our mutual friend. I think it was supposed to be on New Year's Eve, but he was at home with a tampon up each nostril, and he wasn't feeling well, wasn't able to join us.
I know. I thought he was calendar material when I saw those photos, but obviously not. But yeah, he was a bit worse for wear. Jesus, what a big I was about to say something I can't really say. What a big
Jesse.
Jesse is fine, I think. That's allowed, yes. What a big Jesse going to bed on New Year's Eve on a Hogmanay, and what a shame.
But the thing is, I mean, I've never had a cold where my nose is running so much that I've had to plug up both nostrils. I mean, surely that's
no.
If you've got gallons of snorters pouring out of your head, not like for a cold.
Yeah, I've genuinely never seen that. Like if you're bunged up, you're bunged up. That's where the expression comes from. Yeah. But yeah, he literally had, as you said, it was like 2 Tampax up his nose.
Yeah.
And it just looked like something out of the Beano or the Bruins. And it was insane. Like something like Grandpa Brune would have to alleviate his cold before he has a hot toddy and goes and smashes some old woman at the bowling club. But it was insane, that photo. But never mind. We were supposed to have a catch-up, but obviously we couldn't manage because he had a bit of a cold. Yeah. But never mind. But yeah, so festive period and New Year all over now. So we're bang into 2023, aren't we?
Yep, it's a distant memory, the festive frivolities. It feels like a lifetime ago because it's been a busy 2 weeks of the new year.
Yeah, it certainly has been. So Christmas trees all down, although I've still seen some of our neighbours have still got their Christmas tree up. And we are recording this on the 14th of January. Yeah. And they still have their fucking tree up. It's insane.
It's absolutely insane. Unacceptable.
Ours came down on the 2nd of January. That was the day it came down.
Ours came down on the 1st of January because we were all back to work and school on the 2nd because it's not a holiday here. The 2nd, the 2nd was the Monday, so we were straight back into it, and neither of us could be arsed. Well, we knew we wouldn't be arsed to take it down after work because it's a long day. We're up at 6. We're not back home again till like 5, and then by the time for dinner and sort of got ready for the next day, the last thing you want to do is start fucking about with a Christmas tree. So we took it down on the Sunday, put it away until next year. The Christmas ducks lasted a bit longer, but that was only because we couldn't find the box that they came in. But yeah, everything's away now. So
yeah, I think the only thing we've got left is we do have Christmas toys for our dog.
Oh yes.
So it's like a turkey and a Santa and a reindeer pool toy, and they do go in the Christmas box, but we weren't able to put them in because he was there all the time, and he would notice if we're putting them away. So and he's going to daycare next week, so for the day, so we'll have to put them in the Christmas box when he's not here, and he won't notice. He'll be fine. He'll forget about it.
Yeah.
But yeah, Christmas is all over. Never mind.
It's the most wonderful time of the year for him on the sort of 2nd and 3rd of January when he gets to go and have a sniff of all the Christmas trees on the pavements that have been chucked out and take a piss on them and stuff and make sure everybody knows that they're his.
Genuinely his favourite time of the year, I think. And because I think I said in maybe the Christmas episode, people just chuck their trees in the street, and he's been having a riot the last week or so, just wandering around, pissing on all these trees, sniffing them. He's having the time of his life.
Very good.
Okay, well, shall we have a look at what's been going on in Scotland over the last couple of weeks since we've been away? Because we had a little bit of time off, haven't we, Greg? We had the little Best of the News special out. I hope you enjoyed that, folks. But I think we need to get on to the most recent news in Scotland, don't we?
We do. Cue the jingle.
Hello, this is the Outer Hebrides Broadcasting Corporation, and here is what's been going on in the news.
Okay, Greg, so what have you seen in the last couple of weeks in Scotland that has caught your eye and you want to share with me and our lovely listeners?
Right, I got this one, my first one, out of the Scottish Sun on the 5th of January. The headline says, Flood Defence. I built a wall of dung to stop my house flooding. My neighbours were raging, but I did what I had to do. This is Tommy Cannon. And the reason... I know, right? Another reason it caught my eye is because the legendary half of the legendary double act Cannon and Ball liked one of our pictures on Instagram last week. Yeah, so we're going to be dining out on that for a while. This is a different Tommy Cannon. He was forced to take desperate measures when a stream burst its banks and sent water rushing down his street. He claimed he was cut off from the rest of the town, so he had no way of getting to the sandbags that had been laid on by the authorities. Instead, he stuck with what he knows and turned to a stock of trusty manure he had sitting at work to barricade his drive in Dumfries. In a video, Tommy laughs and says, "You know you're a farmer when you're using dung as flood defence." He added, "It was what I had to do to save my house. It was the only thing I had to block the road. We had a really heavy downpour, and within an hour I could see water swelling up around my house and my garage starting to flood. If I hadn't done this, my house would definitely have flooded." The viral clip shows Tommy using a digger to heap piles of the brown stuff in front of his house. He said the dung is stored away on his farm in a spot with proper drainage, so it only took him about 5 minutes to get to it. And it was his only option, as he was hit with about 4 inches of rain in 12 hours on December the 30th. But the unusual method caused a stink with some locals who who feared it could contaminate water supplies. One, who claimed he was a farmer, called Dan, said, "What a cunt." Seems
straight to the chase, Dan.
Yeah.
No messing about.
Seems a bit harsh there, Dan. He goes on to say, then this guy questions why the Environment Agency is pounding the door. It's idiots like this that make so much red tape for everybody else. Another agreed and said, surprised the Environment Agency. I mean, who are the Environment Agency? Surprised the Environment Agency hasn't been onto them for contamination of water. Other people took a more light-hearted view of it. One guy said, that flood defence is a load of shite. Can't really argue with that. Tommy said there was such a torrent of water that there was no danger of the dung causing problems elsewhere. But to be on the safe side, he went out and cleared it all away the following morning and took the photos to prove it. He added, I cleaned everything up. I realise there's a lot of people who will say it's irresponsible, but with the amount of water going down the road, it would have been well diluted and nobody would notice a thing.
Dilute shit.
Yeah, when they're brushing their teeth and top with Tommy's dung. Yeah, so that's the first. That's the first. My first story this week. I know they have had some pretty extreme weather in Scotland over Christmas and New Year. I think it's been raining. It's been very cold. But yeah, this made me laugh there. Tommy's ingenuity.
I didn't want to interrupt you, but when you mentioned the Environmental Agency, it just reminded me of Walter Peck from Ghostbusters, who is with the Environmental Protection Agency. So were they expecting Walter Peck to turn up and see what's going on? I mean, so what? He's had to stop his house from flooding, basically, or area from flooding. So he's got the first thing to hand, which happens to be a pile of shite. And but I did love that it kicked up a stink. I mean, that's going to smell, especially when it's wet as well. It's not, it's horrible, isn't it?
Yeah, but I suppose, I mean, if it's between that and your worldly possessions floating about in your front bedroom, you're going to do what you need to do, right? Tommy did what he had to do.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Tommy Cannon did what he had to do. It reminded me this week that there was a clip going round of The Chase, the popular ITV TV show. And it was a question that was posed to the governess. And it was, which Scottish football team plays at a stadium with the name meaning dung heap? Obviously, we know the answer to that. It's Aberdeen, my beloved Aberdeen, which our stadium is called Pittodrie, which literally translates in Gaelic to dung heap. But she chose the Rangers, which didn't go down well with a lot of
the Rangers fans.
A lot of the Rangers fans. saying we're playing a shithole or something. But no, whereas we're proud of that. We do play in a shithole. You know, it's dung heap. But yeah, the word dung, you don't get enough dung nowadays, do you? You don't hear that.
You don't. I think it's a sort of family-friendly word that the son can use.
And I would say fair play to what was the name of the person, the first person that called him out and just called him a cunt?
Dan. Dan the farmer, apparently.
Okay. So Dan's a farmer, so you would think he deals with dung every day, and probably a lot worse.
He claims to be a farmer. Like the article's very quick to point out that Dan, who claims to be a farmer.
Oh, yeah. So are we saying that Dan maybe isn't a farmer? Are you saying that he's maybe on an insurance fiddle, or he's on getting his gyro or something, but claims to be a farmer or something?
Well, maybe, who knows? Or maybe he's just he wants to be taken seriously. But I would say that if you want to be taken seriously, maybe don't open by calling the person you're arguing with a cunt.
It's maybe just farmer terminology, Greg. Yeah.
Well, maybe.
Claims to be a farmer, and he claims that this other person's a cunt.
Yeah. So when we were talking there about the Rangers fans getting upset about the chase, I had to look up. I looked up to see what Ibrox means, and Ibrox means Badger's Den. So there you go.
How funny then that they call it the Bear's Den because obviously they say they're bears, but I guess Badger is maybe not as fierce or as kind of as big standing, you know, we are the Badgers.
Yeah.
You know, I just think of Bodger and Badger. And I think of that.
I know. I mean, Badgers are notoriously bad-tempered, so maybe...
Yeah.
So, you know.
And they love mashed potato as well.
Yeah, they do.
That's how the song went. Everybody knows Badgers love mashed potato. Yeah. I wonder if it's too late because we're actually playing the Rangers tomorrow. Aberdeen are. I wonder if it's too late to get a mashed potato chant on the go, but probably too late. No one would understand it.
Yeah. So there you go. Well, that's my first story for Mr. Tommy Cannon, not that one, of Dumfries. What's your first story this week?
Oh, my first story is concerning Eddie Large, Greg. From Little Large. No, it's not. Of course not. That's the dream. Oh, no, Eddie's dead, isn't he?
I believe he is.
Sid's still alive, isn't he? Or Sid died as well?
I don't know.
Okay, well, we could fact check that later on. So my first story comes from the Scottish Sun this week, and the headline is Brow Blast. I popped into my local shop and had my eyebrows blown off in a freak explosion. It was like something out of Casualty. So I had a lucky escape, Greg, because I was in this shop.
Oh, you were?
The last time we were back in Aberdeen.
Right.
So a mum has told how she nipped into her corner shop and had her eyebrows blown off in a freak explosion. Pam Milne, 55, said she was hit by a blast that filled her local Nisa store in Aberdeen with smoke. And there's photos of Pam. To be fair, her eyebrows are still there, but they do look a little bit singed, to be fair. Yeah. You know, like when you used to smoke and you would maybe catch your finger hair on your kind of knuckle with a cigarette and it would be singed. It looks exactly like that in her eyebrows. Right. So shame for poor Pam.
So she's not quite the full RoboCop then, no?
No, not the full RoboCop.
Okay.
So poor Pam was forced to flee with two other punters. I don't know why they're punters. They're in a local shop. It's not a bookies. And was left with a burnt face and no eyebrows. It's understood a window at the shop in the Garth D area. And when I say Garth D, this is literally when I got dropped off by a mutual friend. This shop is literally on the end of the road of the crematorium where my mum lives. I don't know. Where my mum's ashes are scattered. But it's literally at the end of that road, and I was in it when I went to go and visit her when I was back in Aberdeen. It's understood that a window at the shop in Garthy was blown out and its electric short-circuited. Pam said, "It's the last thing I expected to happen." I only went in there to post a letter. I was at the front of the queue, and then there was a blast and a burst of flames. I was scared and pretty shaken up. It was like something at a Casualty. It's understood that the worker who was manning the till had their hair burnt in the terrifying incident on Tuesday afternoon. Everyone cleared out the shop. No surprise there, I'd imagine you would.
Yeah.
And waited outside for the emergency services to arrive. Pam was checked over by paramedics, but didn't have to go to hospital, although she struggled to get over what happened. She said, "I was burnt and sore for hours. I felt like I'd been under a sun lamp for too long." That's someone from Aberdeen, isn't it?
Yeah.
So like I got sunburnt. I've been under a sun lamp for too long. It was pretty scary, and I struggled to sleep that night. It was bad, but I suppose it could have been worse. It won't put me off going back to the shop, though. It's happened now. That's a fucking great attitude.
Yeah.
The blast was blamed on a small gas cylinder, thought to belong to a heater that was behind the counter.
Right.
Staff reopened the shop, but then it was shut down again the following morning. One team member said, "We're more or less back to normal, but we're closing for an electrician to come in and do some work." Cops said they were made aware of the incident and assisted an ambulance teams and firefighters at the scene. They said that Operations Control mobilised 2 fire appliances and firefighters assisted emergency services. One casualty was in the care of the Scottish Ambulance Service, and crews were left after ensuring the area was safe. So, I mean, as Pam says, that's the last thing I expected to happen. Yeah. She goes into a shop to post a letter and she gets a fucking gas explosion.
In her face.
Yeah. As I say, hopefully her eyebrows will grow back. They just look a bit singed. They don't look too drastic. But have you ever been in a shop or anything and explosions happened? Or
No, but funny enough, this week I've been away in Kuwait this week for work, and I was staying at a Hilton. I was having my breakfast, and it's the usual sort of hotel fare, kind of hot buffet with toast and things, and you got to toast your own bread in those like conveyor toasters. Whack it in at the top. You go and get yourself a cup of tea. You come back, and if you've timed it right, your toast is gliding out at the bottom. So I was on a Microsoft Teams call while I was having my breakfast, and there's like signs every hotel that I go to in the Middle East. There's a sign that says only put sliced bread through the toaster. Right? It's in English. It's in English and it's in Arabic. So
is someone putting a whole loaf through the toaster?
Somebody had put through a couple of rolls, but the weird thing was they hadn't like even sliced the rolls. They just sort of chucked them in. So of course they were stuck at the top. So I'm sitting in the top shelf. So I'm sitting on this call, and the fucking toaster set on fire. Well, the rolls inside the toaster set on fire. No one's noticed apart from me. The guy who put them in there is fucking wandering around, filling his plate up with whatever, like hummus and chicken sausage and all the usual shite that you get in a hotel breakfast in the Middle East, and just completely oblivious. And so I alerted the waitress, and she went over and sorted it out. But the guy didn't give a fuck. Do you know what I mean? Like, if I'd done something like that, I would be full of contrition. I'd think, I'm so sorry. I'm such an idiot. I'm really sorry. Just got himself another couple of rolls and just stuck them on his plate instead of toasting them. Fucking arsehole.
Was he Glaswegian and wanted a well-fired roll? Or was he just haphazard?
I suspect he was from this part of the world, without profiling too much.
Funnily enough, I do remember when I lived in Dubai and I had a local pub I used to go to. I don't know if you've ever been there. Where my sister and brother-in-law used to live, Al Muntaza, there was a pub in this compound. I don't know how it existed, but it did. It was a fucking lovely little local boozer. And I used to go there every night. Basically, when I finished work, I would nip in for a couple of pints. And there was 2 guys I would always kind of sit and drink with. One was a Dutch guy, actually, and the other guy was an English. And we're sitting just drinking pints one night, and then all of a sudden, like, all this smoke came pouring out the kitchen. And the kitchen was on fire. And it was like a massive fire. So these 2 guys, I mean, to be fair, I still consider myself as, like, not really an adult, but I would have been 28, 29 at the time. They were, in their 30s and I think 50s, respectively. They just like bombed into the kitchen, and they were genuinely like on the floor with like towels around their face and fire extinguishers putting out the fire.
Right.
And I just sat at the bar drinking a pint.
It's having a fag.
Right. and they had to close the place. And I was quite upset. I was like, oh, for fuck's sake.
Well, I can
Just fucking had to evacuate, you know?
I can tell you that it's still closed because my daughter's friend lives down in Almontaza, and the pub's been closed for a good few years. Apparently they can't find anybody who's willing to take it on. So
that'd be a great business opportunity. It was a bit of gold mine, that place. Honestly, fucking amazing. But yeah, that's the only time I've really been in an establishment that's not had an explosion but gone on fire. But never mind. I mean, I hope Pam's eyebrows grow back quickly and she's not too traumatized. I mean, she did say she'll go back to the shop, so it's fine. Really, she'll be okay.
She'll be good. Yeah, she's
go back.
Clearly a salt of the earth Aberdeen wifey who just takes these sort of things in her stride. You know.
I don't know if she managed to get her letter posted, though. Well, that was the question, because she went in there to post a letter, but after the blast, I don't know if she managed to post it. So, Pam, if you're listening, get in touch. Okay, Greg, that's my first explosive story this week. What is your second story that you want to tell us about? So
my second story, and I'm not, hopefully this won't trigger anybody, right? But this is about the fugitive Nicolas Rossi, who has been in the papers quite a lot over the last few months. He's wanted in America over sex crime allegations, but he's being detained in Scotland at the moment, and he's told about how he's being bullied by Scots prisoners because the American authorities are trying to extradite him back to the US to be tried for his crimes or his alleged crimes. But at the moment, he's in Sawton prison in Edinburgh. And
good luck.
He claims he's being intimidated because the Scots prisoners keep singing to him, "Leaving on a jet plane." By John Denver. So he's currently on remand at the jail while the American authorities are trying to get him back. He obviously he denies these sexual assault allegations. He also denies that his name's Nicolas Rossi. He reckons that his name's Arthur Knight with a K. I'm not sure why. But today he told Edinburgh Sheriff Court that he's fallen victim to bullying, and he told the court that inmates insist on singing "Leaving on a jet plane" whenever they see him. Asking Sheriff McFadden for bail, Rossi said, I've been treated incredibly terribly. My wife is afraid to enter the prison. I've been treated terribly. I've been bullied on a daily basis. I've kept in my cell 24 hours a day. This includes singing of the song "Leaving on a Jet Plane" by John Denver. Rossi has also accused prison chiefs of the masterful sabotage of his relationship with his 8th set of lawyers during the hearing. He said his legal team no longer represented him in his battle to avoid extradition to America. Edinburgh Sheriff Court heard how his lawyers withdrew from acting for him after staff at the city's Sawton prison allegedly told them he wouldn't attend meetings to discuss his defence. But today Rossi told the court this was a lie, and he was able to meet with his solicitor Andrew Docherty and advocate Mungo Bovey. That's a name and a half, isn't it? Mungo Bovey, KC.
In the summertime when the weather is fine.
Yeah, I wonder if he did a cover of Leaving on a Jet Plane. He said he was now going to represent himself in his extradition case, and that he was saddened by the lawyer's decision to stop acting for him, but not as sad as he gets when the prisoners sing "Leave It." I just added that last little bit in myself. So that's him. That's old Nicolas Rossi, or Arthur Knight, or whatever he's calling himself this week. But it just made me laugh a lot.
It's difficult enough to get a chant started at a football match. How do you do it in prison? Like, you've got to rely on a lot of the other prisoners knowing that John Denver song to be able to sing along to it. I mean, fucking masterstroke from the inmates at Sutton Prison. I take my hat off to you if I was wearing one right now. I remember reading this case, this Nicolas Rossi case, and we won't go into it too much because obviously we're not that kind of podcast. Yeah. Like we don't go into, stuff like that. But I do remember reading originally when this was happening and just being like, are you taking the fucking piss, mate? Like it's obviously you. Yeah. Like, apparently the guy, Nicolas Rossi, has like a couple of distinctive tattoos and he's like refusing to show or something.
No, he claimed that he was in a coma as a result of COVID, and when he was in a coma, someone put these tattoos on him. That's what he reckons.
Yeah. I mean, that is the fucking worst, like, case of, my dog ate my homework, or I was pissed and I can't remember it.
Yeah.
What a defence. Obviously, it's him. But, the fact he's in jail, obviously, great, because it is obviously fucking him. But I love the fucking never underestimate Scottish people, especially in jail. That is fucking amazing.
I tell you, if he ends up in one of those American prisons, he might long for the days when all they had to worry about was guys singing John Denver songs to him when they passed him.
I'm genuinely surprised at how creative they are, though. I thought it would just be like a, na 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 na, cheerio, cheerio, cheerio. But to come up with the creativity, whoever came up with that has got to be delighted that the whole prison is singing that. Like, they're going to be like this. I bet next time they get a visitor, they're going to be telling them, whole prison's singing my fucking song, eh? I started singing John Denver one night, and they're all doing it now, eh? Fucking magic, by the way.
Yeah, well,
fucking brilliant.
I would imagine that there's quite a lot of downtime in prison, so do you know what I mean? It's like,
that's true. Yeah.
They'll
be sitting scrolling through Spotify on their phones and coming up with humorous songs.
What other songs could they sing to him to annoy him that are a bit in the same sort of vein? I wish I thought of this before.
Yeah, you kind of put us on the spot here. I don't know. So what? It's about basically going home.
Right, it's been extradited. Which obviously nobody is extradited. Nobody wants to be extradited. So you know what I mean. So
do we know where he's been extradited to?
Let's see, there was quite a big article because it kind of moved away from the hilarious bullying by the prisoners of Sutton. No, I don't think it just says America.
Okay, so it's not like you could sing like "Sweet Home Alabama" or something. No,
it's unfortunate. Or "All Gone to Look America" by Simon and Garfunkel. You could sing that. All gone to look for America. It doesn't say.
America by Razorlight. American Pie. I don't know.
Bye Miss American Pie. Yeah, that would be quite funny because he is a bit fat. So be quite. So yeah, if you're a prisoner in Sutton and he's still there and you listen to the podcast, maybe just sing the chorus of American Pie to him, just to mix it up a bit, you know.
Is it wrong that I would fucking love it if we had listeners in Sutton prison? I'd be delighted with that, actually. Yeah, if you are listening, then let us know. Because if you're listening, you've obviously got a mobile device, so give us an email, cultureswally@gmail.com.
Yeah.
And tell us what else you're doing too.
Just make sure you bottle up your mobile when you're finished using it.
Yeah.
Bottle it up.
Bottle it up. Are you putting the brakes on his wheelchair on and leaving him in the shower block or something? And
oh dear. Anyway, so that's fucking Nicolas Rossi. What a twat. Right, what's your next story?
Well, my next story, Greg, is from Edinburgh Live this week, and it is about an Edinburgh tourist who is baffled as he tries iconic Scottish foods whilst visiting the capital. Now, the main reason I've picked this story is because I just want to see your reaction to this tourist's scoring system on the foods he's tried. And some of his comments, obviously. So it's a Mexican tourist who has been visiting Edinburgh, and he's been left baffled by trying several iconic Scottish foods. The first iconic food that he tried was iron brew. But despite not being sure if he liked the taste, he could not work out what flavour the popular orange-coloured drink was.
It's iron brew flavour.
So Well, yeah, exactly. So, documenting his experience, the tourist and his friend rate each thing that they try and attempt to describe the flavours. So first his friend asks him, how do you find the iron brew? And he replies, not bad. I cannot find the proper flavour. It tastes like orange. But it's not orange. But it tastes fine.
Right.
I don't really like it, but it's not bad. Now, can I just ask, I'm going to ask this first. If you were to say this, like, I don't really like it, but it's not bad, what would you give it out of 10?
Don't know, 5, 4?
Yeah, I'd say that's fair enough, yeah.
Right.
He gives it a 9 out of 10.
Right.
Which maybe, I don't know, he's Mexican, maybe he doesn't understand numbers in English, I don't know. So moving on, the person filming him asks about one of the most important parts of a Scottish breakfast. How did you find that potato scone? I think it's just average taste. Like, I'm not really impressed. I'm not impressed. It's 7 out of 10. It's 7 out of 10. That's quite high. She then says, how did you find the black pudding? He observes, it's like beans. It tastes like beans.
No, it
I
doesn't.
don't know if I like it. It's okay. It's a 6 out of 10. Finally, he tries haggis, which also baffles him.
Right.
He says, it's nice, but I think it's got something to do with sheep inside. His friend then says, what would you rate it? And he goes, it's not bad, but I'm intrigued. 8 out of 10. His scoring system is all over the fucking place. The clip has been viewed by over 15,000 people with likes and dozens of comments from Scottish folk weighing in on the hilarious clip. One social media user joked, I'm Scottish and I still can't describe the taste of iron brew. Another said, I'd rate the black pudding uncooked. That's what it looks like. And final person says, you need to get him a fish supper or a pizza crunchy out of a chip shop. So that is, his scoring system was just all over the place. I mean, like, I don't really like it. I'll give it 9 out of 10. What the fuck?
Yeah.
So yeah, that's what our Mexican tourists thought of our Scottish delicacies. I mean, so iron brew, haggis, tatty scone. What else? Is there anything else you would recommend you could try?
Square sausage, white pudding,
Yeah.
stovies.
Well, you try black pudding, yeah.
Stovies,
Yeah, of course, stovies, yeah, that would be a good shout, yeah.
skirly.
Yeah.
Hundreds of stuff.
Yeah, hundreds of stuff you could try.
You could try some buckfast. Well, it's strictly speaking, it's not made in Scotland, but it's
No, but for some reason
Certainly-
it's associated.
certainly very popular there.
If you were to describe the flavour of iron brew, I know you said it just tastes like iron brew,
Yeah.
but you can't describe it really.
Not
can you?
really. No, because I mean I've been drinking it for like over 40 years, and it doesn't taste like anything else. Like it,
No.
there's like a lot of fizzy drinks that are around now. There's a lot that have come and gone over the years, like Tab. Remember we spoke
I knew you were going to say tab here.
for one. There's loads of different ones that have come and gone over the years, and nothing really tastes like even like iron brew coffee. Like I remember, I think Virgin did. Remember there was Virgin Coke and all that for a while.
Yeah, I didn't remember they did an iron brew rip-off, did they?
They did, and they called it Iron Brew, but they spelt it like IRONBREW. And and there was a picture of the Fourth Rail Bridge on the bottle as well.
Oh, okay.
So, but it didn't taste like it didn't taste like the real thing. You know what I mean?
The closest I could I remember reading this or hearing it somewhere, and I thought, yeah, that's quite an accurate description, but it's not really. It's like bubblegum in a way, but it's not. But it kind of makes sense. I don't know. Iron brew is just its own unique taste.
Yeah.
And it's just iconic and wonderful. And I'm so glad it's in our lives.
Yeah, me too. And I'm really looking forward to going home. We're talking before we started recording. I've not been in Scotland since February last year. No, since May. Tell a lie, May.
I was waiting to say, I saw you in May.
Yeah. But anyway, it feels like a long time since I was there, so I'm looking forward to having a glass of the 1910 recipe iron brew out of a glass bottle, assuming that it's still available.
No, I'm sure it is. Yeah.
Yeah, and maybe like a full Scottish breakfast to get my mum to make me one.
Oh, you have a tatty scone and black pudding and
square sausage and
square sausage. Yeah. Can't have that. It gives me heartburn.
Yeah.
Have you seen anything else this week, Greg? that's caught your eye?
Well, the only other quick thing that I've seen, so for the last few years, Edinburgh Zoo has had some special exotic guests in the shape of Yang Guang and Tang, the Chinese pandas, but their trip is coming to an end. I think they were hoping the Edinburgh Zoo staff called them Sunshine and Sweetie. So that's better. It's easier to say. Their time has come to an end in Edinburgh. I think they were hoping that they would make little baby pandas when they were staying in Edinburgh, but unfortunately they haven't. Maybe it's too cold for Sunshine. But so you can go to say goodbye to Sunshine and Sweetie if you're a panda fan, but it's going to cost you £5,000 for the privilege.
What?
$5,000. You can. So it basically $5,000 will get you and a guest. You get to feed one of the pandas, and you have a champagne lunch. I assume the pandas won't be there for that. You get a luxury. You also get a luxury breakfast as well.
Lovely. That's worth it then.
You get to feed. It says you get to feed one of the pandas. I mean, I think for $5,000 you should get to feed both of them. Do you know?
For $5,000, I'd expect you get to have fucking sex with one of the pandas.
Don't know that. So yeah, $5,000 to go and see the pandas off. I mean, would you maybe?
Wow.
I mean, is there like an animal that you would like to have an encounter with? Like, I mean, I'm not saying one that you would pay $5,000 to have an encounter, but an animal that you've always sort of admired that you would like to have an encounter with in the wild or something like that.
I don't think so. I don't know. Maybe I'd like to have a cup of tea with a chimpanzee. Maybe like PG Tips advert. Or
I used to want, that was like a real dream of mine for a long time, was to have a sort of chimpanzee experience. But then I read a story a few years ago about a woman in Paris, and a chimpanzee ripped her face off. And I'm not, and I don't mean like scratched her up. I mean ripped her face off. So, but I wouldn't mind a kind of gorilla experience, you know, just being around the gorillas.
I tell you what I would like actually, and it's not to be stereotypical or a trope or anything, but I would love a Highland coo. Just to have a little chat and a pet a Highland coo, which is quite achievable if we're back in Scotland. I'm sure we could just nip into a field and pet a Highland coo, but yeah, that'd be pretty cool.
Yeah, I know where there's some Highland cows outside of Aberdeen. Near the village of Longside, which is near Peterhead. There's a field with Highland cows there. So.
Well, I think that's about it. I can't think of any other animal I would like to kind of have an experience or interact with. I've never been one for like I want to go swimming with dolphins or sharks or.
I've done the dolphin thing. It's in Mexico. It's overrated, and they fucking and the thing they don't tell you about getting a pool with dolphins is that dolphins shit a lot. So they do, and it's like green sort of seaweedy sort of shite that they leave around. You know, so you know what, they're getting that stuck to your body when you're in the pool with the dolphins.
Oh well, never mind. Well, I wish the pandas all the best luck, and I hope people pay $5,000 for the privilege to say goodbye to them. Well, my last thing, Greg, before we move on to what we're going to be talking about, was just a quick story that I saw, and it was the news that Elgin might host the National Tug of War Championship.
Wow.
So there's about 300 competitors expected to take part in this 2-day event where they have a big tug of war. So that led me to think, if you were having a tug of war team. Right. Now, I think tug of war, I've Googled this, and it kind of varies between like 6 and 8 competitors. I'm going to limit this to 5, right? So we're having a Swally tug of war, me against you,
right?
And we need to pick, what do you want to pick? Do you want to pick 4 or 5 people to have behind us in this tug of war?
I'll pick 4, because I assume that I'll be in the team.
That's what I mean.
Yeah.
So it's a team of 5. Yeah. It's me against you, the Swally tug of war.
Okay.
So I want you to pick your 4 tug of war teammates against my tug of war teammates. So do you want to pick all your 4, or do you want to go each around?
Let's do that. Let's do one each, so we don't step over.
All right, I'll let you go first then.
Okay.
Who's your first pick on your tug of war team? Bear in mind, we are both fucking massive weaklings. So we need to pick strong competitors. So we need 4 strong men. or women on our team, obviously. So who's first pick in your tug of war team?
So I feel like I'm going to want someone at the back who's got a kind of good centre of gravity, strong, heavy. It's going to sort of dig their heels in, keep us going. I think I'd probably pick Cosmo first.
Oh, good choice.
Yeah, Cosmo.
He's a good choice. He was on my list. I mean, he's in everything, so why wouldn't he be in a tug of war team?
Yeah, exactly. Stocky, strong, commanding.
I thought similar to you. You need someone big, commanding, that's going to dig their heels in. Yeah. So I went with Rob Affleck.
Of course, it's a great shout. Yeah.
Yeah.
Great shout, Rob Affleck. Yeah, fucking hell.
So he's my first choice.
Okay. Right, so next then I'm going to probably want somebody who's a good sort of cheerleader, who's going to have the respect of the rest of the team. Even if we start to kind of lose a wee bit, he's going to fire us up and get us to win the advantage back. And I think Peter Mullen would be great at that.
Oh,
Yeah. I could hear him say, "Hey, come on, boys, we can beat these fuckers. Let's do it."
Yeah.
So, yeah.
No, I think that's a good shout. Yeah, I'd go with that.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, good. My second choice would be former Scottish strongman Big Tam, Sean Connery.
Yeah.
In his day, he was a strong man. And he was tall, but also not slim. But like Rob Affleck's taking the back.
Yeah.
Big Tam was a big unit, but he was also quite slender. Yeah. So I think he'd be good just behind me, tugging on the rope. So I'm going to go with Sean Connery as my second choice.
Okay. Right. So two more people.
No, two more people.
Okay. So I think I'm going to want somebody heavy, I think. So I am going to go for the late great Robbie Coltrane.
Great shout, on my list as well. He was, but obviously you can have him, but great shout. I think he would have been very good. Okay, so I need someone heavy as well. Not heavy. In fact, I don't need anyone heavy. I'm all about the.
You got the Connery Affleck combination there, so
exactly. I don't need anyone more heavy. I'm gonna have. Do I go with the action hero or no? I'm going to go with a wrestler. I'm going to go with WWE superstar Drew McIntyre. He's a Rangers fan, so we might not get on, but I think he's going to help me when it comes to the tug of war. So I'm going to have Drew McIntyre on my team.
Right. Okay. Right. I'm going to need somebody. I think because you've got Connery on there. We know that Connery was we know that Connery was a shagger, right? And I suspect that Drew McIntyre also got an eye for the ladies, or perhaps maybe he's married now, but maybe in the past he had an eye for the ladies.
He's married now, but in the past I think he did have an eye for the ladies, yes.
So I want somebody glamorous that's maybe going to put those guys off their game. I think I will go for the very lovely Marley Sue.
Oh,
I think she'll attractive, smiley, good energy. I think I've seen Big Tam and You Only Live Twice. I think he's the old eyebrows going to raise a wee bit. He's going to be drawn over to Marley. She's going to put him off. Marley Sue.
Okay, so we have Greg, James Cosmo, Peter Mullen, Robbie Coltrane, and Marley Sue.
Yep.
Versus Nicky, Rob Affleck, Sean Connery, Drew McIntyre, and funnily enough, Greg, I have also gone with a lady with my final choice because we're not sexist in the culture.
No.
I've picked Super Gran.
Oh, she was a serious granny, right enough.
I think it's safe to say I've won the tug of war.
Yeah, probably. Yeah, even if Big Tam's over on my end chatting up Marley Sue, I think you probably still won.
Should I have said fictional characters were allowed? I mean, you could have had, to be fair, you could have had Robbie Coltrane as Hagrid, and then maybe he would have won, yeah.
I know. That's a worry. I don't mind. I'm sure it was... I'm sure it would have been a good contest, regardless of the winner.
It certainly would have been. All right. Okay. Well, before we go on to what we're going to be talking about today, let's have a little word from our sponsor.
No tartan. No bagpipes. No Bonnie Prince Charlie. Strathmore.
Hello, down the Percy of the Rosars.
It's Scottish enough.
Okay then, Greg, so it was your choice on our first proper episode of 2023. So why do you tell us what we're going to be talking about today to kick off the new year?
So I'm going to take us back to 1998, the year that Isles FM first launched in the Outer Hebrides, the community radio show. The year that Scotland opened the World Cup in France with a game against Brazil, which never quite forgiven Tom Boyd for. And in the year that BBC Scotland aired the 4-part 1980s set drama Looking After Jo Jo. So it stars Robert Carlyle. As I mentioned before, it's set in Edinburgh in the 1980s, against the sort of rise of heroin and AIDS in the community. It was directed by John Mackenzie, who we have done a lot of John Mackenzie stuff on the Swally. We did way back near the beginning. We did just a boys' game, just another Saturday, a sense of freedom. The list is long. So I hadn't really watched this since it came out on the television back in 1998. I have to say, I quite enjoyed it, although it's not without its problems. Which we'll get into later. What's your first memory of Looking After Jo Jo?
I remember watching this when it first aired, definitely. I think because it's like you say, it was on the BBC on a Sunday evening, I think, and this was when the BBC, I mean, they still do good kind of 4 or 5-part drama things like this, but this was kind of when they were at their peak. And I think probably because Robert Carlyle had obviously been in Trainspotting, and
Hamish Macbeth.
Hamish Macbeth, of course.
Yeah.
And this came just after The Full Monty and Face, which he did with Damon Albarn and Ray Winston.
Yep.
But it was before Plunkett and McLean and The World Is Not Enough. But I remember being, I have to watch this because it's Robert Carlyle. And I think probably because obviously it was set in Scotland and because of the drug connotations, because of Trainspotting, it was kind of peak viewing. But this is so much different from Trainspotting, for example. But I remember really enjoying this when it first aired. And I'm the same as you. I don't think I'd watched it since. So watching it last week for the review was the first time in a long time I'd watched it. And yeah, same as you, I really enjoyed it. I agree it's problematic in places, and there's a lot to discuss about it. But yeah, I mean, it was really good. It was great. Maybe slightly lagged in parts, but overall, yeah, I really enjoyed revisiting and looking after Jo Jo.
Yeah, it's so. If you haven't seen Looking After Jo Jo, it's Robert Carlyle plays. I think he's supposed to be a young guy in his 20s. Like Robert Carlyle was actually 36, but I think it's when they made this. But I think he was supposed to be a kind of young guy. He's a thief. He's been a thief since he was a little boy. We discover he works for his uncle Charlie, who is like the local pub landlord and also the sort of local sort of head baddie in the community. And he, through the course of the story, Charlie introduces heroin to the community, and Robert Carlyle as Jo Jo starts to sell it for him, basically. And him and his friends, Kev McKidd is in there as well, and another Trainspotting alumni playing Basil, which I think is a great name for a character, because Basil feels like an old sort of English kind of Victorian name, and you got Kev McKidd playing this sort of Edinburgh sort of chancer and petty thief and criminal. His name was Basil. It was brilliant. Yeah, and then the other lead is Jenny McCrindle, who sadly is no longer with us. Her star was rising quickly when this came out. I think she was expected to go on to great things, but just after this was released, she was diagnosed with multiple sclerosis, and it pretty much almost sunk her acting career. She did a little bit more after Looking After Jo Jo. She plays a nurse in Psychos, but unfortunately she passed away in 2014. as a result of her illness. And she's very good in this. There's a film of hers that I came across doing my research for this called Dream Baby that I think we'll have to try and do in the Swally if we can find it. I watched this. You can watch a couple of scenes from it on YouTube, and she's really good in it, and she's nothing like how she is as Lorraine in this at all. You know, she's she's funny and warm and everything. So,
no, I mean, she delivers a wonderful. I mean, let's talk about her now before we talk about anything else. I mean, it's such a sad loss, as you say. She died in 2014. She's been on the Swally before. She's in an episode of The High Life. That we covered, and she's also in Your Cheating Heart, and she was in The Acid House as well with the Irvin Welsh adaptation. She is absolutely fantastic in this as Lorraine, and Lorraine's an odd character. Like, I guess it's quite problematic to talk about kind of things nowadays, but she's mental in the kind of the Scottish term. She's unhinged and a little bit odd, and you're not quite sure because she also, she mentions in terms of her, that she just came out of a detention centre and then she grew up in care, but obviously she has a loving family with, Ron Donaghy, who is her father, but is also conveniently JoJo's prison officer when, and very conveniently was JoJo's father's prison officer when, back in the day. So she grew up in a loving home, but obviously she just likes to make up these kind of lies. But she is a Marilyn Monroe impersonator, and that's her kind of dream to be this Marilyn Monroe. Well, not specifically Marilyn Monroe, well, Norma Jean. Yeah. But as she says, Marilyn Monroe was a character, and Norma Jean just portrayed her.
The best is when you look in the picture and you can't see me in there. Just her. I mean, I know that I'm not her. If I was her, I wouldn't exist. But she wasn't a real person either, not really. The point is, Norma Jean was just the first Marilyn Monroe lookalike.
She's amazing in this, and even from the outset, the first time you see her, when she's in the Crocodile Club with Carol, and they're having a drink, and then the next time you see her, the first time that Jojo and Basil meet her and Carol are kind of sitting on top of that bridge, and you're like, they've been out from the night before, and they're just sitting drinking a bottle of wine as they see Jojo and Basil, and it's brilliant. She's fantastic in this. Like, she really steals the show.
Yeah, she's good. She's the only thing, I mean, and it's not a reflection of her, because she, as you say, she's very, very good as the character. But the characters, I don't know if it's just that we don't, like, her and Jojo seem to get really close really quickly. She can't bear to leave him. I think it's the first or second episode. She goes to London and she has a successful audition and she's all set to make all this money. But she stays in Edinburgh, you know what I mean, with him. And it's kind of like, there's like multiple times, because, after when Jojo starts to get more involved in selling heroin and becomes more powerful in the community and stuff, and he also becomes addicted to it as well. It's it's some of the things that he does. You're like, I don't understand why she doesn't just fuck off. You know what I mean? Because like the sort of closeness and the love that's supposed to be between them, I don't think it's necessarily developed enough earlier on in the story to kind of warrant her inability just to walk away from him later on, Well, she is about to leave him at one point in, I think, episode 3, when he gives her the money to put into the bank, and she's about to board the bus to London. She gets arrested. Then the cops come and arrest her. But at that point, she is about to go, leave him and take that money and fuck off. And it's such a shame. I kind of wish she had done. Yeah, for sure. So, and then later on, she goes back to her mum and dad. I think it's after he shoots the wee dog. And DeLorean. Poor wee DeLorean. She goes back to her mum and dad, and then when he turns up, because like that scene, it doesn't feel like he's turning up looking for her. It feels like he's turning up to ask her dad some questions about sort of related to the death of his father, and she just happens to appear. and because he's a bit kind of jarred by what her dad tells him, she feels that she's got to go with him, you know what I mean? And it's just, I don't know, I just felt that whole strand of the story, I think because it feels like, because they want to focus on the heroine and the mystery around what happened to his dad, and you know his you know the sort of falling apart of the kind of close group of friends that they are in the beginning. When we see them rob a tobacco warehouse together, and you know, I don't think they spend enough time on the whole Lorraine and JoJo relationship. You know?
No, I would agree. Yeah, you're right. I think that there could have been more made of that, because it is a little bit odd the way it's kind of played out. But as you say, they kind of focus more in terms of the drugs and the crime, and I think that's one thing they do quite well in terms of the escalation of the crime. So, as you say, they start off, literally, they're robbing a cigarette factory or warehouse, and that's what they're doing. And of course, that's not under Charlie's terms. Charlie, they're kind of doing that rogue, if you know, makes sense. But then Charlie is very much, he runs his pub, and then he's kind of just has this gang that kind of do robberies, but then he gets involved in drugs. Yeah. And you can kind of see that's the way, in terms of the early 80s, the way it would escalate, in terms of, right, we're making money off of this, but there's a lot more money to be made in selling smack. And we've seen multiple films, you know, I mean, this is kind of a cross between Scottish Scarface and Trainspotting, really, in a way. And you can see how the money is made. Okay, well, drugs is the new thing. That's how we need to make the money. And that's how they get involved in it. And it's funny, I suppose, Charlie's the only one that adheres to Biggie Smalls' rule, never get high on your own supply. Yeah. Because the rest of them are all fucking off their face on heroin, but he's the one that's not. And I can see how it can escalate into, right, we need to start selling this, and then everyone gets involved. And I think that's how this the show was so important, in terms of it really shows the impact on drugs in not just the individual, because I think Trainspotting showed how drugs impact individuals. This showed how it impacts basically, effectively, like the community. Yeah, because the whole community, and how it just absolutely just disintegrates because of heroin. Yeah,
they're all, exactly. You know, the whole sort of contention of it beginning with someone stealing pharmaceutical heroin from a, I think there's that's based on fact to some extent, because Irvin Welsh does the same thing in the book Skag Boys, which is his prequel to Trainspotting. It came out around 2012, 2013. In that book, if the character Seeker is black, he's making his brother-in-law steal pharmaceutical heroin so Seeker can sell it in Edinburgh. So I think whether it's maybe sort of urban legend that's been extrapolated, or whether it is true, but certainly that the contention that that's how heroin was first introduced to Edinburgh is quite a popular one.
Yeah, certainly. Because I mean, obviously, as we know, back in the day, Edinburgh was the heroin capital of Scotland, and it was like the HIV capital of Europe for a while. And that's one thing they do touch upon in the show, in terms of the HIV and AIDS epidemic. But I did feel that was kind of rushed, in terms of it's literally on the news, and then in the next scene, everyone has it.
Yeah, there's a bit of that. I mean, there's a number of it's obviously, this is set in 1982 and 1983, and they seem compelled to want to remind you of that. It almost hit you over the head with it. You know what I mean? There's at the end of every episode and the beginning of every episode, like inexplicably, there's the sequence of Christy and his mate playing on the waste ground on their bikes and jumping on the car and all that to like a jam song, and then you have Torvill and Dean on the TV at the Winter Olympics in Sarajevo in one of the scenes. JoJo's lawyer drives a Golf GTI. There's the scene with Fenton and Matt Costello in the club, just before JoJo runs in dressed as a rabbit and starts attacking them with a razor blade. And Fenton, for no reason at all that I can make out other than just to remind us that this is the 1980s, starts talking about how all these young men and women in his club, they're in their early 20s, but they've got really good jobs, they've got flats, and they're upwardly mobile and all that, this sort of thing. And the other thing that they do, which they actually get wrong, is that they have Live Aid on. But Live Aid was 1985, not 1983. But they have the Quo open in Live Aid when they're all sitting around getting smacked. So I don't know why they felt that they kept having to remind us that this is set in the 1980s. You know what I mean?
Well, as you say, it kind of they smash you over the head with a brick in terms of this, because the episode starts, the first episode, and it comes up on the screen clear as day, 1982. Great.
Yeah.
So we see Basil picking up various people in the van, and then it cuts to Charlie's pub, and we're watching the Galahad on fire, the ship in the Falklands, which is the one which Simon Weston was on. And we're watching that, and then of course later on they reference about sinking the Belgrado, and as you say, hey, there's no need to beat us over the head. As we say, the soundtrack to this is amazing. Oh, it's brilliant. Because it's full of The Jam, Elvis Costello, as you mentioned, Status Quo,
Ultravox,
Bucks Fizz, Ultravox, Slade. Slade play a pivotal part in terms of one of the scenes. I get it. Set in the 80s, you don't need to keep banging on about these certain points, but I agree, maybe that was the way back then in terms of just having to keep hammering home. You do realise this is the 80s, but every episode comes up with the year at the start, like 82 or 83. We know when it is.
It's bizarre. I mean, and they're all, everyone's in sort of period costume and stuff, especially when they get a bit of money, and Basil's got the kind of gold chain under his shirt collar. He's got the sort of slip-on shoes and the sort of the kind of bags, the Oxford bags, trousers, and all that sort of stuff. We get it.
But then, did they do it in a good way? Because it's not. The characters aren't necessarily a parody. Like, there's no like skinheads or punks, roaming around like you would see on, like, I don't know, Grange Hill or EastEnders back in the 80s. Although, but then, is that a caricature, or is that actually what real life was like? Whereas, I guess you have to think this is a housing scheme in Wester Hailes, Edinburgh. So it's maybe there weren't people like that. And I did read that actually there was the residents of Wester Hailes complained in the newspapers when this was being filmed, saying that they were worried that this was going to paint them in a bad light.
Right.
Because obviously a drug dealing housing scheme. So they were a bit worried about that. So I'm not sure maybe what came of that.
Maybe that's why the producers felt they kept having to remind us it was the 1980s then. Maybe they said to the residents, like, oh, we know it's not like this anymore. We'll keep reminding people that it's in the 1980s.
So the main character, obviously, Jo Jo, played by Robert Carlyle. And I mean, we've covered a few things with Robert Carlyle on the Swally before, but he's just fantastic in this role. I mean, Robert Carlyle's fantastic in anything we watch him in, really. Oh, he's great. And the thing is, this is probably when he was at his sort of most famous, really, because he's had Hamish Macbeth, which was a big success in the BBC, and it's a sort of Scottish like heartbeat. And then he's in Trainspotting in 1996. Then he's in the Full Monty in 1997. And if you remember back, the Full Monty was fucking massive. It was huge.
It was massive. It was sort of like when Four Weddings and a Funeral came out in 1994 and reminded the whole world that movies are still made in the UK.
Yeah.
And then that you mentioned in 1997 as well, he does Face, another leading role, which I've not seen it for a long time, but I remember quite enjoying Face.
Yeah.
Then he's back with Johnny Lee Miller again doing Plunkett and McLean, which was a big film. He does Ravenous with Mike off Neighbours. I know his name is Guy Pearce, but he'll always be Mike off Neighbours to me. He gets his Bond villain role in 1999. He's in Angela's Ashes, which was a big film because the book had been really successful. But then it all sort of starts to kind of slow down a bit. Like he does The 51st State in 2001 with Samuel L. Jackson, which was a big film. But then after that, it's kind of sporadic. You know what I mean?
But as you say, this is his peak because it starts, the whole opening of the show is Robert Carlyle in Looking After JoJo.
Yeah.
It doesn't come up with Looking After JoJo starring Robert Carlyle. Mm-hmm. He is the main focus of this. Mm-hmm. And I seem to remember that at the time. It was very much like, this is a Robert Carlyle thing. This is big news. So, as you say, this was his kind of peak. This was his pomp in terms of that's the way it was marketed. Like, this is Robert Carlyle's thing.
So what do you think happens with his? I mean, it's not like he's not been doing stuff, because he's works constantly, and every now and again he'll pop up in the lead. We did Barney Thompson, I think, last year. He was a lead in that film. He's done quite a lot of TV as well. Some stuff probably recognise, some stuff maybe not so much, like an American. He's got a TV show on Sky at the moment called Cobra, that he plays the lead in. But in terms of like movies, Barney Thompson, he directed as well as starred in. He's the lead in 28 Days Later, but he's only 28 Weeks Later, rather, but only for about half of the film, and then they kill him off. Sorry if you've not seen it.
Yeah, but then would you not be the same, like in terms of if you're earning enough money and you've got that thing, you're not really going to want to do the big things that you have to have massive starring roles, have to go to all the premieres, have to do all the press junkets. You're going to want to do kind of just enough to keep yourself going.
Yeah.
You've made your money, you're still wanting to keep in the public eye, but you're just wanting to do just enough to just keep that boat afloat, have an occasional holiday and, have enough money, but not have to have all the hassle. I think that's what I would do.
I'm not sure, but possibly, but some of the things that he has done, particularly in America, he did like 40 episodes of Stargate Universe. I mean, when you compare that to the stuff that he did on TV and film early in his career, he's working with guys like, what do you call it, Ken Loach, people like that. He's doing sort of quite serious. He's working with Danny Boyle. He's doing quite progressive drama, social stuff. And early on in his career, like there's one where he plays, I can't remember what it's called, but I remember watching it on the TV, and he plays a guy who, I think he starts a relationship with this woman, but then he ends up being diagnosed with multiple sclerosis or something like that. I can't remember what it's called. But like to do like 140 episodes of Once Upon a Time where he plays Rumpelstiltskin, I just thought, I've no idea, and I'm not trying to roast them here, but I'm just surprised that's the sort of that more popular stuff that he's sort of turned to, that he continues to do when you compare it to the sort of more edgy stuff that he did early on, So, the character of Jojo, are we meant to like him? Are we not meant to like him? I mean, I thought he was okay until he fucking killed DeLorean, and then I didn't fucking care what happened to him after that. But he starts off quite charming, and then is it very much a case of, the drugs took over, and that made him an arsehole? Because in the beginning, he seems like an okay guy. He's having a laugh. He's playing, headers, with his nephew and stuff. Delivers a great line when he first gets nicked and he's speaking to Gilly Gilchrist, and they're speaking about how his dad used to shite himself in the cell. And he says, I know that smell.
Sarah reminds me of your ma. She never took any snash for Jackie, did she? He'd come home pissed, scared of scalp. She'd scalp him right back. How long has he did now? He's always shitting himself. Cider. So we had this cell special, just for him. Because of the smell,
Oh, aye. I ken that smell. Caught it a while ago down Safeways.
Aye?
I ran into your fucking bird.
He's quite a humorous character, but then he does change. Very dark. Are we meant to like Jojo or not?
I think we're supposed to start off sort of on his side. You know what I mean? Because he's a thief, but he's not hurting anybody that it's going to resonate with the audience. Like he rips, like him and his pals rip off the fags from the tobacco warehouse. He rips off a jeweler's shop, but we never see the jeweler. We don't know what kind of person we don't know what kind of person he is. It's just a shop. And then, when the last sort of 2 episodes, when he is in a position of power and he's making all this money, he's addicted to heroin, he's very dismissive of his friends after that. They call it, and his neighbours as well. He's like, well, they're just bams, why should I care? What's her name? Is it Christine, played by Mandy? What's her name? Mandy Matthews. Carol, sorry, not Christine. Carol, played by Mandy Matthews, who is like, she's Lorraine's friend. She's there right at the beginning when they start selling heroin. She's doing a lot of the running about, picking it up and stuff like that. And he's just very dismissive of her, you know what I mean? Toward the end, it's just, everyone's a bam. He's just out for himself. You know, he still cares for his family, but he's not bothered about who gets hurt. You know, it's their own stupid fault if they want to get addicted to heroin. He's not bothered. So by the end of it, you know, he's not very likeable at all.
I wonder if the audience barometer is kind of the character of Claire Galloway, who is his solicitor. Because obviously in the beginning, she's kind of almost taken with Jojo and kind of in awe of him, and she kind of almost revels in being his solicitor and getting him off of these crazy schemes and, oh, Jojo, what have you done now? We'll help you out in this. Mm-hmm. But then when he fits up Malky for the murder at the end, she's absolutely disgusted and horrified by him, and, you know, has a drunken speech in the street to him. Mm-hmm. And you're almost like, okay, so is that meant to be our audience barometer? Is Claire Galloway how we're meant to feel about Jojo? That, oh, he's just a cheeky scamp and does this, and oh, he's selling a bit of heroin, but never mind. Yeah. But once he fits up Malky, and as he says, you know, Malky's calendar material, so what's the difference? But then that's crossing the line, and it's too much for the audience and for Claire.
Yeah, I mean, that whole last episode, it's it does take that turn. It's, you know, it's I think he sort of crosses the line when the extent of his addiction is sort of underpinned by how he shoots the poor wee dog for barking, and, you know, he's so wired, he can't find the last wee bit of smack that he knew he had around the house. He's like, you know, he's raking through the records and the CDs and everything, knocking everything over, and, you know, I think that kind of marks his decline, really, I think, in terms of how we're supposed to feel about him as a main character. You know, because after that, it's just they have these there's these wee moments between him and Lorraine when he sort of becomes quite self-aware of what his addiction is doing to him. He can't think straight. He's obsessed with what happened to his father. You know, he's sure that, you know, he's starting to think that his Uncle Charlie has something to do with it, and plus all the other sort of pressures of trying to run a sort of burgeoning drug business, you know, and maintain a serious drug habit.
And I think that shows at the beginning he's hesitant about drugs, because when they knock off the cigarette factory and he goes to Davy's club, the Crocodile Club, to sell him the cigarettes, and Davy does say to him, you wanting some hash, black hash, speed, smack? And Jojo was like, just cash. That's all he wants, cash, not interested in drugs. But then obviously he goes to prison for a bit and comes out and sees how Big Danny has been, you know, he's raking in money. He pulls up in his red BMW. Now, if you've got the money to buy, you know, your gold necklace and stuff and buy a red BMW, would you not get out of that fucking housing scheme?
Yeah, for sure.
First, you know, you're not going to want to be doing that. But that's what makes him jealous, and I think obviously that's what leads him to, you know, selling drugs once Danny gets busted. But I do wonder, as you say, like his relationship with his dad, because very much fitting in the first episode, you know, we see flashbacks where his dad's kind of talking to him, but even early on when he's in the van going to that cigarette factory, and when it kind of cuts off the lock and he's doing the chain, he sees his dad and he's like, you know, I'm proud of you, son. And it's a feeling of pride that his dad is going to be proud of him. And it's, I say, we see a flashback where he's been knocking off stuff when he's a kid, and his dad's so proud of him. He just kind of wants his dad to be proud. And even I think in episode 4, when he comes down the stairs and I think his mum and Lorraine are there, and his sister as well, and they say, you look just like your dad. And I just wonder if that's the road he was going down to try and get his father's acceptance, even though his father had long gone.
Yeah, I think you're right. The thing is, it's really weird the first time he has that vision of his dad, because his dad's just like riding a racer push bike alongside of the roads. I mean, to be honest, I could have done without all the stuff with his dad. I'm not sure.
Yeah.
why we needed everything. You know, like if they wanted to build like a dispute between him and Charlie, the whole sort of kind of race to the top of the sort of criminal tree would be enough.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I think this story about his dad and his mum, and his dad being like an alcoholic and a thief and whatnot, and like Jojo's, he's really proud of being a thief. You know,
you kind of perfectly segued us there onto Charlie, played by Ewan Stewart. What a fucking great character.
Yeah,
Charlie he's brilliant. Yeah. Like, he's just got enough menace, but he's a friendly guy, but you just know you don't fucking cross him. And he's obviously got the police in his pocket as well, and he's got his little police scanner radio, local pub landlord, but he's a brilliant character, Charlie. And a fetching line in lovely 80s jumpers as well.
Yeah. I mean, Ewan Stewart's been in a few things that I think that we've covered. He was in Down Amongst the Big Boys. Maybe one or two other ones as well. I mean, I think it's the first thing that I'd seen him in where he is more than just a kind of supporting character. Yeah. You know what I mean? And he's absolutely fantastic in it. Yeah. Really, he gets right into the whole Edinburgh accent. You're bot. Like that, the whole chat with him and Christine and Billy about cling film. You know what I mean? Have you heard of cling film, Billy? You know what I mean? Like, I looked it up. Cling film was invented in 1933. It wasn't like a recent... I'm sure Billy will have heard of cling film before. That's changed the world, cling film. Well, the criminal world anyway.
Do they search you? Sometimes. Random. You didn't ken when. Look through your pockets. Bottle it. I don't want to be rude, but we're talking about where the sun don't shine. Up my arse. Excuse my French. Sounds vulgar, but... A kidney. Up there it's in the bank. How do you get puff in the jail? All you need is a wee bit cling film. You ken cling film, it's called stretch and seal. That and a bit Nivea. For your butt. I ken folk with sovereign rings, gold chains, even a Rolex all bottled up.
Cling film's changed the world.
Yeah, he has my favourite line in the whole series, and it's the delivery of it. It's when Big Danny has died. And there's a whole kind of stramash, and Big Danny's wife's there, and Jojo comes in, and Charlie comes there, and it's just the delivery when he goes, "It's Big Danny, he's dead."
He's funny, but he's funny with that conversation with Billy, and a bit of Nivea. And he's like, Nivea for your bot.
But he comes across like quite, charming, but also menacing as fuck as well. Like when he goes to Billy's house and he's sitting with his mum, that's when they're watching Torval and Dean actually do the Bolero. And you do get the impression that he will absolutely fuck you up. But he also does, again, probably my second favourite line, but one of my favourite parts is towards the end, and spoiler alert, obviously, everyone, when Jojo confronts him and pulls the gun on him, and that little bit when he says, "I'm fear of the gun, Jojo," and Jojo says, "Aye, so am I," and then shoots him. It's just that, is that meant to be funny? Because I was in stitches.
I don't think it's meant to be funny. Like the way he speaks to the policeman as well, played by Alexander Norton, when he's asking about drugs, and he's like, "Oh, it's just bearings. I think it's disgusting." Like he's like acting like he's not the architect of all this misery.
No, but he is just absolutely fantastic. And of course, aided, I mean, the reason he gets into drugs is because of his lovely girlfriend, Christine, played by Aileen Mowat. Now, it's funny, Aileen Mowat, as soon as I see her, I'm like, oh yeah, it's her.
Yeah.
She's been in everything. And then when you look her up on IMDb, she hasn't been in everything. She's hardly been in anything. And I'm like, where do I know her from? And the only thing I can think of is, and I know I've mentioned this so many times on the Swally before, and I am going to pick it one day. I definitely am. She was in Bad Boys with Freddie Bordley.
You were going to say that.
And Alex Norton and Carl Howman.
Yeah.
It's on YouTube. The quality isn't the best, but I'm definitely going to have to pick that scene because I did end up watching a bit of an episode yesterday. It's so bad. It's so good. But yeah, she seems like she's just got that face. I'm like, I know her from everything, but she's hardly been in anything. But she is brilliant as Christine in this.
I think that she was in and don't ask me what for, but like an advert campaign for
that could be it.
Yeah, I couldn't tell you what it was advertising, but I'm pretty sure that she was in quite a long running campaign.
Rings a bell, actually. It might have been, something, I don't know. But obviously something Scottish. But that does ring a bell, maybe. Because she's so familiar.
Yeah, she's really good in this, actually. Really, really good. Because she's sort of, she's glamorous. I mean, she's a very, very attractive woman. But she's not she's not like kind of gangsters mall sort of ditzy. She knows how to navigate this world very well. You know what I mean? Like she advises Charlie on, we ascertain that she spent time in London, probably around the underworld in London as well. She knows how to navigate this drugs business and what to do with it. She explains how much money you can make by cutting it with glucose, then turning, sort of like kilos into 2 or 3 kilos.
Yeah, I mean, it's her idea, effectively. I mean, it's Billy that mentions it to her in the bar, and she does say that she, used to be I can't remember the exact words, but she was the speed queen, effectively, when she was in London. And she's the one that kind of gets the idea. And then it's her that is saying to Charlie about the whole speech. And that's near the end of episode 1. You take this 1 kilo and you turn it into 3 kilos. Suddenly you've paid Billy £1,000 and you've made 300 grand off of this.
Yeah. I know. Yeah, she's really good. Although she's in one scene where a character does something that I fucking could not look at. But when she is injecting herself between her toes.
Oh, yeah.
Just, I mean, I'm not particularly squeamish, but for some reason, I don't like watching a needle go in. Like, I'm not scared of needles. If I've got to get blood taken or get an injection, it's fine. But I won't look at my arm as the doctor is putting the needle in. Because I don't know why. It just makes my fucking scrotum tighten. I hate it.
Yeah, because I wondered if that was initially, I thought, because we only see her smoking it up until that point. And then when she was injecting that, I was like, are her arms so fucked that she can't? And I was like, oh no, it's so Charlie doesn't see.
Yeah.
So that's why she's doing it. But too, it's quite clever. But I don't even know. I don't even want to check. Is there a vein there? Like, I mean, I know. I think they do that in Trainspotting, do they? Or is it the book?
Yeah, they do it in the book.
They inject it in his toes. I think there's not one point he injects it in his cock or something.
That
was the only vein he could find.
Funnily enough, last night when I came back from Kuwait, yesterday, and the first thing I did was inject smack in my cock. When I came back, my wife and I went out for a drink. When we came back, she went off to bed. My daughter was up, and I fancied having another drink. So she said, "Can we watch something?" And I said, "Sure." And I said, "What do you want to watch?" Now, the other week, we're watching this documentary on Apple TV, which is all about 1971, and there's a bit in it where they talk about the American soldiers in Vietnam getting addicted to heroin. And she'd asked me, what is it about heroin? What does it do? And I said, well, maybe I'll let you watch Trainspotting at some point, because it can explain it better than I can. So I had a few beers in me last night when I came in. So when she said, what about watching Trainspotting? I was like, yeah, it's a great idea. So we watched it, and she asked me to fast forward through the whole Archie Gemmell scene, but no, she didn't want to watch. Okay. Doesn't want to see.
Understandable, yeah.
She's only 14. She doesn't want to see all that shit. But there was a scene where Alison is injecting Swanee in his cock. There's that quick scene there, and I saw her sort of pick her phone up and look at her phone at that point. But she liked it. But I said to her at the end, I said, so you're not going to take heroin? And she said, well, I wasn't going to take it anyway. I said, but now you're definitely not going to take it, right? And she just sort of rolled her eyes at me.
Well, speaking of Trainspotting, Kevin McKidd as Basil. Fucking hell. What a character. He's fucking brilliant in this, isn't he?
He's really good. He's so funny as well. You know, just his enthusiasm for everything, and even when he's jaundiced, you know what I mean. Still like maintaining a fairly positive outlook on things. You know.
Yeah, he's just passing it off as he's stood in the doorway. Oh, it's just jaundice. It's fine. He's absolutely brilliant. I mean, the only time you see him kind of crack is near the end when obviously he's arrested and he's in prison.
Yeah,
full of the HIV. But throughout the whole thing, he is just tip top, just on top form. He's just absolutely brilliant.
Well, see, that was one thing about this that I couldn't really quite get my head around, because they sort of wrap it up quite quickly, and obviously Jojo's sister, Claire, is it Claire? Trisha, sorry. She sees Basil and overhears them talking to the police. Yeah. But we don't really find out why Basil has decided to grass, do we?
Yeah, you do hear the conversation you overhear. He's saying to the police, "You'll look after me." And so he's effectively trying to get a plea bargain, and they do say to him, yeah, we will.
Right.
And then, of course, the next thing is the rest of them are all inside. Now, there is not a fucking chance they would all be in the same cell block. Although maybe, I don't know, in the 80s, maybe. In Salton, maybe they'll be there with our hero from earlier. What was his name? I can't remember.
Nicolas Rossi.
Nicolas Rossi. They'll maybe be singing along with him. There's no way they'd all be in the same cell block. But I think that's the implication, that he's grassed them in, but then the police have kind of fucked him over.
Yeah.
And as you see, he's lost all his hair. So he's calendar material. He's dying of HIV or AIDS, sorry. And I think that is the implication. However, you've kind of touched upon a good point. As I mentioned earlier, all of a sudden AIDS is on the TV, and then all of a sudden everyone in the fucking scheme has it.
Yeah.
Now, towards the end, when Lorraine comes in and speaks to Jojo, Jojo says, "I'm calendar material." So are we inferring that Jojo has HIV?
Well, that's it. I mean, I couldn't decide whether we're supposed to think that, he does have HIV now, or whether he just expects to, he's sort of come to terms with how bad his habit is, that he must have it as well, Yeah. And he's just assuming that he's contracted this virus.
Yeah, I just wasn't sure if it was a bit unclear. I mean, obviously he's in prison and we don't know how long he got, but I presume
14 years probably.
Because that seemed to be the standard, wasn't it? Because that was what Big Danny's wife got.
Yeah.
That's what Billy was looking at. What happened to Billy, by the way? Billy got arrested. He was in the police interview. They said to him, "You're looking at 14 years. He grasses in Charlie, and then we never see him again. What happened to Billy?
Well, maybe Billy got away with it. Maybe he's in the witness protection program.
I hope so. I'd like to think that. Yeah. So we'll presume Jojo got 14 years. So I guess he is probably calendar material there.
I mean that the scene when Billy cracks in the police station. I mean, the actor, who's also called Billy, by the way, is that he's decided that that's his moment, I think, and he's going to fucking go for it. You know what I mean?
I think you touched upon earlier the cop, Alexander Morton, but of course he plays DC Wright, and the other cop, DC Monk, is Gilly Gilchrist.
Yeah,
and
Stonemouth.
He's fucking brilliant in this, and one of his earlier roles, but he's so good, and I think it's quite believable in terms of, obviously he gets kind of rumbled when he's getting a BJ off a Carol.
Yeah.
So he's not the quite straight-laced cop we're led to believe, but he's great in this, like really convincing, and plays it well.
He is good. The thing is, though, I mean, that's another sort of kind of plot point. I mean, I wonder if maybe this would have benefited from being maybe like a 6-parter instead of a 4-parter, because that's another sort of plot strand that doesn't really they don't really build on, so Jojo has got something over this policeman, but he still gets arrested, nothing happens as a result of this sort of leverage that Jojo's got with these photographs of him. I think it would have been good to see what happens to that character in the in the context of the program.
Yeah, I think you're right. Yeah, I never thought about that, but you're spot on. Actually, it is kind of glossed over. They have these photographs of him, and then it's effectively like they have a cop in their pocket, but still gets fucked over anyway.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. Maybe his marriage deteriorated. Who knows?
Maybe.
Again, it kind of shows the impact of drugs, because that was one scene that I did find quite unsettling towards the end. And was it necessary? Maybe it was, to show Jojo's nephew, Christy. Effectively off his face on smack. And again, at the very end, everyone's in jail and he passes the cops and says, "What the fuck are you looking at?" Mm-hmm. So that's
the torch being handed over.
Us meant to believe, yeah, exactly. Yeah. So Jojo's dad effectively handed the torch to Jojo in terms of petty theft. Now Jojo's turning over the torch to Christy. And sad state of affairs and kind of demise if that's going to be his future.
I think that scene was important because it gives Trisha, who has grown up in this family where, you know, we don't talk to the police, regardless of what any of us do, we always support each other, etc. You know, like when she sees Basil speaking to the police, it sort of gets her off the hook, because at that point she is deliberating whether she needs to go and sort of grass on her brother. And, you know, I think she needed like a good reason to do that, it had to be more than just being sort of ostracised in the community. When suddenly her own son is essentially a victim of her brother's business, then she has to do something, you know what I mean? Because as much as she loves her brother, she doesn't love her brother as much as she loves her son, you know?
Yeah, I mean, you can tell she's had enough when she delivers that speech about what was it? You wanted your house, then you've got it. Now, yeah. Take it and fuck off.
Yeah. Like it's a proper mum doing she gives Christy. You know what I mean? In her frustration. He's aya. You know what I mean? That she fucking she sort of batters him, but not in the sort of traditional sense of getting battered, but they kind of sort of mum battering, which means getting slapped a lot and chased around the living room, you know?
I love that. A proper mum doing.
Yeah.
And speaking of mums, of course, we have Ellie Haddington as Jojo's mum.
Yeah. She's good.
She's popped up quite a lot on the Swally recently, but yeah, she's brilliant as well.
Yeah, she's really good. You know, she's the scenes that she's in, I think she's a sort of veteran, the sort of veteran actress in those scenes, and you know she sort of takes it to a whole different level. The scene where when she discovers just after Jojo's shot Charlie, and then the scenes afterward when she's in the pub and she's talking to the police and she's sort of sipping a glass of wine and everything, she's absolutely brilliant.
Yeah, she's got a brandy there to keep her going, to settle her nerves. But yeah, there's a few great scenes that she has, you know, even at the beginning when she's drunk and it's her birthday and she's kind of cracking on to Charlie, but then even later on the way she is with Jojo, and you can tell she's a good woman because she's wanting to take in Big Danny's kids.
Yeah.
You know, when they're staring at jail and she's fighting for them. And I think she does in the end.
She gets them, yeah.
The police come and she says, no, there's enough people here to look after them. So she is, she's looking after them. So she is a woman that kind of cares.
Yeah. I mean, she's been in everything. Ellie Haddington, from Taggart to Doctor Who and the Fantastic Beasts movies. She's in Enola Holmes, the new Netflix movies with Henry Cavill and 11 out of Stranger Things in them and stuff. I mean, she's in tons and tons of stuff over the years. She's popped up everywhere. So should we put Jojo through our Swally Awards? Do you get any other thing?
We can do, yeah. Before we do, I wanted to ask you one question. So if you can only pick one, what would you pick? So you can have the acclaimed TV series looking after Jojo.
Okay.
Or you can have the 1988 song by the Scottish brothers Hugh and Cry, Looking for Linda. Or you can have the popular 70s, 80s and 90s magazine Lookin'. So looking after Jojo, looking for Linda, or Lookin'. What are you picking? You can only pick one.
I think I'm picking Lookin', I think.
Good choice.
Yeah, just such a massive part of my childhood. It was like the first magazine that, even before like the Beano and all that I would get every week. My dad used to get the newsagent to keep it for me every week.
I went into a Wikipedia kind of black hole the other day when I was looking at Lookin', and they have a list of all of the comic strips they used to have. It's incredible.
Yeah.
The ones they had, like in a Bay City Rollers comic strip and stuff. It's
the Bobby Robson
incredible.
story.
Yeah, absolutely bonkers. Okay, good to know you picked Looking. I think I'd probably pick the same.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, let's put Looking After JoJo through our Swally Awards then. Okay, so the first award, what have we got?
First award is the Bobby the Barman's award for the best pub. So there's only really 2 in there.
So Charlie's Bar or the Crocodile Club, and we didn't even mention Matt Costello as kind of in the Crocodile Club. Jesus, pops up and everything. I'd like to go for a drink in Charlie's pub. It looks all right, especially if Christie's serving behind the bar.
Yeah,
bit of glamour. I could sit with Billy and have a little nip.
Yeah.
Crocodile Club. I probably would actually. I don't know. As long as there's no bunny rabbits in there, then I probably would.
Razor wielding bunny rabbits. Yeah, no, I can see myself whiling away a couple of hours at the bar, having a blather with Christine. And, being quiet when Charlie came in, only speaking if he spoke to me first, that kind of thing.
Yeah, of course.
But equally, I can imagine having a bit of a bop to the fizz in the Crocodile Club as well,
Yeah.
A few
definitely.
A few rum and blacks down me. Okay, so the next award is a difficult one, I think, to pick from. I mean, I'm sitting on 2 here. I'd be interested to see on your choices. But the James Cosmo Award for being in everything Scottish.
I've got 2 as well. So my 2 are Matt Costello and Gilly Gilchrist.
Right, so I had Ewan Stewart and Dave Mackay.
Okay. Of course, Dave Mackay.
It's Malky. I think Costello probably wins it because he's just fucking in everything. It's ridiculous.
Are you going to mention that he was in Wonder Woman 84 again?
Yeah. I tell you he was in Wonder Woman 84. He just, and the funny thing about Matt Costello, I mean, the first thing I think I ever saw him in, ironically, was the Taggart series when somebody is killing people using rat poison. And James Cosmo is in it. He's a guy.
Spoiler, we need to cover this on the Swally.
Yeah, I know. This is going to blow you away, right? So James Cosmo is in it, and he has a little business as a pest exterminator, and the guy that works for him is fucking Matt Costello. So, but he's quite a. Obviously, it's Taggart, and it's a drama, but he's obviously he plays the bookie and still game. But then equally between that, he'll pop up in like a fucking 1 minute on screen part in Gov and Ghost Story. You know what I mean? Or something like that. So I think maybe it's just the law of an actor, unless you're incredibly successful.
I think this appearance in this puts him in our top 5 in the Swally tally.
Right. Well, there you go. Okay. So the next award is the Jake McQuillan Your Teazoot Award. What did you pick for this one? A few choices there.
There's a few choices. Yeah, there's quite a few. I went with the rabbit suit, of course. The slashing. Yeah.
It's a good one.
What about yourself?
I went for the scene when in the first episode when the guys get arrested and Sarah fucking twats Gilly Gilchrist when they're dragging Danny out and ends up getting arrested herself. Okay, next then there's the Hugh McGregor Award for gratuitous nudity. And there's just any, is there?
I was actually quite surprised that there was no nudity in this. I mean, does that make me, but we're looking at something that's mid to late 90s on the BBC on a Sunday night. There's no nudity. I was actually really shocked. There was nothing. I mean, the worst we get is JoJo in the bath.
Yeah, and even then it's just like sort of bare shoulders. There's a scene when JoJo and the Rain are in bed and... there's a bit of sort of naked shoulder action there, but that's it really. Okay. Again, lots to choose from here. The Francis Begbie Award for gratuitous swearing.
What did you go for?
I went for the tirade that May comes out with after she discovers that JoJo has shot Charlie. And she's like pulling his hair and slapping him around and all that, and he ends up having to like sort of punch her one to sort of calm her down. What should you go for?
Initially, I went with May as well, but from the first episode, it's when she comes out and she sees the seagulls on the balcony, and she chases them off and calls them shite hawks.
Yeah,
which I quite liked. But I actually gave it to, I don't know if it's best use of swearing, but it's kind of the most comical, is just after Jojo has shot Charlie, and Charlie's first words are, "You stupid fucking bam."
yeah.
I like that.
There's a lot of good ones. Archetypal Scottish moment.
I struggled like with this in terms of what to pick. I mean, the first option is smack in Edinburgh in the 80s is kind of, or HIV. That was genuinely what I kind of picked, apart from Geese a bit of Jimmy Boyle.
Yeah. Yeah, that was good. I picked not speaking to the police.
Fair enough.
Which is ironic considering that in the New Year, the Christmas episode of the Swally, I told about how we spoke to the police when we finished off the Shangalang tale. And then finally, the Sean Connery Awards. Who do you think wins looking after Jojo?
I think it kind of has to be Robert Carlyle.
Yeah, I didn't pick him.
I don't know. Ewan Stewart, I think, is great. And I was kind of torn between the two. In fact, Ewan Stewart. He's brilliant.
Yeah, I mean, I think as far as a character and performance goes, I think Robert Carlyle's been a lot better in other things. Yeah. I think he's been stretched a lot more as an actor and a lot of other things as well than he is in this. I mean, no, I'm not saying that he's not good in this, but I think Ewan Stewart's fucking brilliant in it, though. He's so good. He's so good. So, well done, Ewan. Right, well, that was Looking After Jojo. If you want to watch Looking After Jojo and you've got over 3 hours, you can find it on YouTube. It's all there in its entirety. Well worth a watch. Even though we've probably ruined it, but we've probably ruined it for you now.
Yeah, definitely. I'll put a link in the podcast description for everyone.
Anyway, it was my choice to kick off the year, Nicky. So what are we going to be watching for the next episode of The Swally?
Well, it's a new year, Greg. So I have decided that I'm going to pick, obviously, my choices as well. But over the course of the last couple of years, we have had quite a few, not so much requests, but recommendations from listeners, and they've asked, you should review this or you should look at this. So I know we've had a few from we were on the wonderful Scottish Tug podcast with Ali last month, and he gave us some good recommendations, and they are on our list, Ali. We will do them in the near future. And I know that Andy from Finland also gave us some recommendations, and Andy, I promise you we will get to some of them very soon. But first, it wasn't so much a recommendation, but it was from everyone's favourite Canadian baker, Strong Henry. And I think it was an Instagram comment he mentioned on a few months ago. Have you ever done this? And we haven't. So I'd like to rectify that. So this is for you, Strong Henry. I'd like to look at the first series. And it's only the first series, because it's only 2 episodes, of the BBC television series Shetland.
Ah, okay. I've never ever watched it.
Neither have I. I've never seen a single episode. So Douglas Henschel. So we will watch the first series, which is only 2 episodes, and then the other series are 6 episodes each. So we need to build up to that. But I think the first one was done as like a one-off 2-part.
Right.
So yeah, we're going to do Shetland.
So I don't know if that was by design, or not, but Shetland first series was written by Frank Deasy, who's the writer of Looking After Jojo.
Oh wow!
So there you go. Yeah.
Look at that. It was not by design at all. Look at that. Fantastic.
Yeah.
So there we go. We're going to take a trip to Shetland in a couple of weeks, Greg. I hope you're looking forward to it.
I certainly am. Never been there.
Neither have I. We're going to go there, though. Okay. Right. Thank you so much, everyone, for listening. I hope you enjoyed the show. If you'd like to get in touch with us with anything that you've seen, you'd like us to review, or anything in the news you'd like us to cover, then please get in touch with us and email us on cultureswally@gmail.com. Or follow us on the socials. You can follow us on Instagram @cultureswallypod, or you can follow us on Twitter @swallypod. And Greg, we have a wonderful website, don't we?
We do. And it's my New Year's resolution to put something new once a month on the website. So this month, I've done something that I probably should have done in October, Halloween. And I've written a little essay/article all about Scottish horror. So appreciate it if you came over and had a look at that. Let us know what you think. You can also contact us directly from the website. There's links to our email and also Instagram and Twitter. Come and have a look. cultureswally.com.
Fantastic. All right. Well, wonderful. Thank you very much, Greg. I'm off to go and get my Bay City Rollers album and my platform boots on. But it's just a fad though, isn't it?
Yeah, I'm away to bottle that up for my flight to Saudi tomorrow morning.
Good luck with that. I hope you've got plenty of cling film. Okay. Right. Till next time.
Till next time.
I'm not fucking paranoid. I'm paranoid. You know what I mean? I'm paranoid about my paranoia. 24 hours a fucking day I'm on. I'm alert. It's later incredible, eh? I mean, they're out to date, like, but... Oh, I walked into a ready-made family, Jojo. I had responsibilities. You can? Can I go back to jail, Jojo? I suffer from claustrophobia. Told her. There's no fucking powder on the coffee table. Jojo, that's Sarah. That's a liberty. Leaving the stuff on the table like that. No, you get chances in life, Jojo. Charlie's given me mine. I'm well fucking quoted round here, like. I've got 2 dogs and a machete. I tell you, I'm never without them.